Hello, quiet mind. Welcome to Dream Science. Perhaps you've drifted here with a head full of tangled thoughts, seeking a gentle unraveling. Or maybe you're simply heavy with wonder, ready to explore the fascinating unknown as the low hum of evening lights surrounds you. Whatever your reason, you've found a space where we journey through the universe's most beautifully baffling corners, not with shouting, not with rush, but with a soft exploration designed to help you unwind and perhaps even drift into slumber tonight. We'll gently explore something profoundly mysterious, yet intimately familiar, the very reality you perceive. We'll ponder why your vivid memories of yesterday shift like sand with each recall, or how the colors you see aren't truly out there at all, but painted by your own mind. We'll even consider if the feeling of consciously deciding what you want for breakfast is a trick your brain played on you just a moment before you even felt the thought. So, wherever you are right now, nestled in your bed, gazing at the stars from your window, or simply finding a moment of peace, perhaps tell me in the comments what time of day or night has found you here, listening. If you find a moment of calm in these whispered wonders, a gentle tap on that like button, or perhaps a subscription, can help other quiet minds find their way here to this tranquil corner of the cosmic unknown. Now, as the world outside begins to hush, let's allow our minds to gently descend into the extraordinary, secret architecture of your own perception. Get comfortable, breathe softly, and prepare to drift as we explore the brain illusions you mistake for reality. You open your eyes each morning, and the world unfurls before you, a vibrant tapestry of colors, a symphony of sounds, the distinct aroma of coffee brewing. You reach out and feel the cool smoothness of the ceramic mug. This, you believe, is reality. This, you are certain, is the world as it truly is, presented to you in high definition, unadulterated truth. It's an intuitive, undeniable conviction, isn't it? The chair you see is solid. The music you hear is a direct vibration. In the air, the warmth of the sun on your skin is an objective sensation. We all share this common assumption, this bedrock of our daily lives. What we perceive is what is. But what if this fundamental belief, this reassuring certainty, is the most profound illusion of all? What if, in every single moment, the reality you experience isn't out there at all, but rather an elaborate, incredibly convincing fabrication happening entirely in here, within the dark, silent confines of your skull? This isn't a philosophical riddle for a dusty academic hall. This is the startling, unsettling truth of neuroscience. Your brain, that gelatinous mass of neurons and synapses, is not a passive receiver of data from the world. It is an active, audacious, and relentless architect, building your reality from scratch, millisecond by astonishing millisecond. Imagine your brain not as a window, but as a virtuoso sculptor, blindfolded and working in a soundproof studio. All it receives are incredibly crude, fragmented whispers and touches, electrochemical signals, not images, not sounds, not textures. When light hits your retina, it doesn't send a picture to your brain. It sends a burst of electrical impulses. When sound waves ripple through your ear, they don't carry a melody. They trigger a cascade of neural firings. Your brain, this tireless sculptor, takes these raw, meaningless impulses and, with dizzying speed and breathtaking artistry, conjures up the vibrant, fully formed, three-dimensional world you inhabit. It's like a grand illusionist performing a trick so flawlessly, you never even suspect the effort behind the curtain. The colors you see, they don't exist as colors in the external world. They are the brain's interpretation of specific wavelengths of light. The sounds you hear, vibrations, yes, but transformed into meaningful auditory experiences only by the complex machinery of your inner ear and cortex. What does this profound insight mean for you, for us? It means the vivid red of a sunset, the piercing shriek of an alarm, the velvety texture of a rose petal. These aren't external properties of the world. They are the brain's internal creations, its best guess, its most plausible fiction based on sparse data. It means your experience of now is always slightly delayed, always a reconstruction. When you reach for that mug, you aren't perceiving its solidity in real time. Your brain is predicting its solidity based on past experiences, filling in the blanks, literally creating the sensation. How much of what you know to be true, then, is merely your brain's magnificent, self-referential symphony, playing exclusively for an audience of one, you? What if the very fabric of your personal identity, your memories, your sense of self, are all equally masterful illusions, intricately woven by this incredible, tireless organ? This isn't a call to nihilism, to dismiss all experience as unreal. Rather, it's an invitation to a deeper, more awe-inspiring understanding. It's liberating to realize that your experience of reality is unique, a masterpiece crafted just for you. This knowledge empowers you to question, to explore, to understand the incredible malleability of perception. You are not a passive recipient of the world, but an active co-creator, constantly participating in its invention. This means that by understanding the mechanisms of your own perception, you gain a profound leverage over your experience. The world isn't just happening to you, it's happening through you, shaped by the lens of your own mind. So, the next time you marvel at a breathtaking vista, or recoil from a jarring noise, pause. Remember that what you are experiencing is not merely a reflection, but a brilliant, intricate construction. How might your life shift if you truly embraced the astonishing truth that your brain is the ultimate artist, constantly painting the canvas of your reality? What new possibilities emerge when you understand that the masterpiece of your world is always, in every moment, being brought into vibrant existence by you? You've just considered the astonishing truth. Your brain doesn't merely perceive reality, it actively constructs it. You've marveled at its artistry, its ability to spin raw electrical signals into the vibrant tapestry of your world. But if your brain is such a masterful artist, conjuring sight from mere light waves and sound from vibrations, what else is it doing with all that raw data? This leads us to an even more unsettling truth. For every detail it meticulously paints into your conscious awareness, there are countless others it ruthlessly, deliberately erases. Think about it. Right now, as you read these words, what do you not perceive? You aren't consciously aware of the microscopic dust motes dancing in the air, even though light is reflecting off them. You don't feel the constant pressure of the atmosphere on every inch of your skin, a force that could crush a lesser being. You're likely unaware of the subtle hum of distant electronics, or the faint scent of the fabric softener from yesterday's laundry clinging to your clothes. These sensations, these countless bits of data, are all hitting your sensory organs. So why don't you experience them? Because your brain, in its infinite wisdom and efficiency, decides they aren't important enough to bother you with. It's not just creating, it's also filtering, an unseen editor constantly at work, refining your personal narrative of reality. Scientifically, this is known as sensory gating or attentional filtering. Your senses are constantly bombarded by an overwhelming torrent of information, an estimated 11 million bits per second. Yet, Your conscious mind can only process about 50 bits per second. Imagine trying to drink from a fire hose, but you only have a tiny thimble. Your brain is that thimble, and it has to make snap judgments about what's crucial and what's noise. It achieves this through complex neural networks that act like vigilant bouncers at the VIP club of your consciousness. They decide which signals get through and which are immediately discarded, often before you even register their existence. This isn't a flaw. It's a feature, a critical survival mechanism. Without it, you'd be paralyzed by sensory overload, unable to distinguish a predator from the rustling leaves, or a friend's voice from the cacophony of a busy street. What are the profound implications of this incessant filtering? It means that the objective world, if such a thing exists, is infinitely richer, more complex, and more terrifyingly detailed than anything you will ever consciously experience. You are living within a carefully curated, highly personalized bubble of perception, constantly pruned and shaped by your brain's unconscious biases, past experiences, and immediate goals. How many insights have you missed because your brain decided the data wasn't relevant? How much of the truth is deliberately kept from you for your own good, or simply for the sake of efficiency? Does this mean your understanding of reality is inherently limited, a mere sliver of the actual universe, dictated by an internal editor you can't even perceive? Yet, there's power in this knowledge. Understanding that your brain is a relentless filter means you can begin to consciously influence what it lets through. Mindfulness practices, for example, are essentially training your brain to broaden its gates, to let in more of the subtle details it typically screens out. By focusing your attention, by intentionally looking and listening, you can temporarily override some of these automatic filters, revealing layers of reality you previously overlooked. It's not about escaping the filter entirely, which is impossible and undesirable, but about becoming aware of its operation and learning to direct its incredible power. So, the next time you feel completely absorbed in something, remember that countless other stimuli are vying for your attention, yet are silently dismissed. Consider what your brain chooses to show you, and more importantly, what it chooses to hide. What new depths could you discover in your everyday world if you consciously sought to widen the aperture of your awareness, even just a little? You've grappled with the idea that your brain sculpts the world you see and selectively filters what you don't. The vibrant colors, the rich sounds, the very solidity of objects, all are exquisite internal constructions. And now, as you sit, breathe, and read, you instinctively feel the unwavering march of time, second after second, minute after minute, an objective, universal constant. We perceive time as an arrow, perpetually flying forward, consistent for everyone, everywhere. It's the ultimate shared reality, isn't it? The clock on the wall ticks the same for me as it does for you, marking an impartial progression from past to present to future. But what if even this most fundamental assumption, the very bedrock of our existence, is another sophisticated illusion spun by your tireless brain? What if time isn't a rigid, external conveyor belt carrying all of us uniformly forward, but rather a flexible, internal narrative, constantly being edited, compressed, and stretched within the confines of your skull? This isn't just about time feeling faster as you age or slowing down in moments of crisis. It's about your brain fundamentally altering the experience of duration, making you question if there's any objective now at all. Consider the unsettling phenomena that demonstrate this. Think of a near-miss accident, a split second where everything seems to slow to a crawl, every detail unnervingly clear. or recall how a tedious meeting drags on endlessly, while an hour spent with loved ones vanishes in a blink. From a purely external, objective viewpoint, the clock ticks consistently. Yet, your subjective experience of those durations is wildly different. Scientifically, this isn't just a trick of memory. It's linked to how your brain's internal clock operates, influenced by factors like attention, emotion, and the amount of new information it processes. When you're in a high-stakes situation, your brain processes an immense amount of data, leading to the perception of time dilation. Conversely, in routine, predictable moments, less novel information means time seems to speed up. Your brain doesn't just measure time. It weaves it, changing its density and texture based on your internal state. It's like a master storyteller who can slow down the most gripping scene to excruciating detail or fast forward through mundane exposition. What are the profound implications of this malleable timeline? It means your personal history, the sequence of events that define your past, is not a fixed, immutable record but a dynamic, re-edited reel. Memories aren't static files. They're reconstructions, updated each time you access them, often influenced by your current emotions and beliefs. How much of what you remember actually happened as you recall it? If your brain can warp the present, how reliably can it reconstruct the past or predict the future? This challenges the very notion of a single, coherent narrative of your life, suggesting instead a perpetually evolving story shaped by your moment-to-moment consciousness. Yet, this isn't a reason for despair, it's an invitation to liberation. If your experience of time is largely an internal construct, then you possess an incredible, often unrecognized, power to influence it. By engaging more fully with the present moment, by cultivating awe and curiosity, you can consciously enrich the density of your temporal experience, making moments feel more expansive and memorable. It means you can break free from the feeling of time slipping away by actively shaping your attention and emotional landscape. You're not just a passenger on time's arrow. You are, in many ways, its cartographer, drawing the map as you go. So, the next time you glance at a clock or feel the rush of time, pause and consider the extraordinary truth. The very fabric of your now is being continuously woven by the intricate loom of your own mind. How might your daily life, your memories, and your aspirations shift if you truly embraced the realization that your personal timeline is not a given, but a creation you are intimately involved in shaping? You've journeyed through the unsettling realization that your brain invents the visual world, filters out vast swathes of sensory data, and even stretches or compresses the very fabric of time. Each of these revelations challenges your intuitive grasp of reality. Now, let's turn to something even more intimately tied to your sense of self, your memories. You hold them dear, don't you? Snapshots of your past, indelible moments etched into the very core of your being. We rely on them to define who we are, to learn from mistakes, to cherish successes, to connect with our personal history. We believe our memories are like perfectly preserved videos, ready to be replayed with flawless fidelity, an accurate archive of everything you've ever experienced. But this, too, is an illusion, perhaps one of the most comforting, yet profoundly misleading, deceptions your brain perpetrates. Your memories are not fixed, immutable recordings. They are, in fact, dynamic, fragile, and constantly reconstructed narratives, re-edited every single time you recall them. Each act of remembering is not an act of retrieval, but an act of recreation, a fresh telling of a story that can subtly, or even dramatically, change with each retelling. This startling truth is borne out by decades of cognitive science research. When you remember an event, your brain doesn't pull a file from a stable cabinet. Instead, it reassembles disparate pieces of information, sensory fragments, emotional tags, contextual cues, into a coherent narrative. This process is highly susceptible to influence. Think about how eyewitness testimonies can be notoriously unreliable, even when the witnesses are absolutely convinced of their accuracy, or how family stories evolve over generations, details shifting and blending until the truth becomes a collective fiction. Your brain, striving for coherence, will unconsciously fill in gaps, smooth over inconsistencies, and even incorporate new information encountered after the original event. It's like an archaeological dig where each time you unearth a relic, you unintentionally alter the soil around it, and the very act of describing it changes your mental blueprint for next time. The original truth becomes increasingly elusive, buried under layers of subsequent interpretation. What are the profound implications of this malleable past? It means your personal history is not a fixed monument, but a living, breathing tapestry that you are perpetually reweaving. If your memories are so fluid, how reliably can you know your true past? Does this challenge the very foundation of your identity, which is so deeply rooted in the narrative you tell yourself about who you've been? If even your most cherished recollections are subject to distortion, what does that say about the certainty of anything you believe to be true about your life's journey? It can feel disorienting, perhaps even a betrayal, to realize that the bedrock of your self-narrative is not as solid as you once believed. Yet, this unsettling truth offers a powerful, liberating perspective. If your memories are not fixed, then you are not eternally bound by past failures or traumas. You have the inherent capacity to reframe your past, not by erasing it, but by consciously choosing new perspectives on those experiences. It empowers you to view your life story not as a finished book, but as an ongoing manuscript where you are both the author and the editor. Understanding this dynamic nature of memory can foster immense self-compassion and encourage growth, allowing you to learn from your past without being rigidly defined by its perceived imperfections. So, the next time a vivid memory resurfaces, pause and consider its fluid nature. What stories are you telling yourself about your past? And how might consciously re-examining those narratives offer new avenues for understanding, forgiveness, or personal evolution? How might embracing the active, creative nature of your memory empower you to shape not just your future, but your understanding of who you have always been? You've explored the brain's masterful construction of sight, its ruthless filtering of sensory input, its unique weaving of time, and the fluid, ever-changing nature of your memories. Each revelation has chipped away at the solid ground of what you thought was objective reality. Now, let's delve into something even more fundamental to your human experience: your emotions. You feel them constantly: joy, anger, sadness, fear, surprise, disgust. We perceive them as spontaneous, visceral reactions, direct readouts of our internal state, simple feelings that arise in response to events. When something good happens, you feel happy. When threatened, you feel fear. It seems straightforward, doesn't it? Emotions are just what happens to you. But what if emotions aren't merely feelings, but powerful, biologically wired imperatives, commands issued by your brain to drive specific actions and ensure your survival? Even if those commands sometimes feel overwhelming or irrational, what if they are less about a passive experience and more about an active, albeit unconscious, directive, shaped by a deep evolutionary past that prioritizes action over nuanced feeling. Consider the scientific perspective. Emotions are complex neurological states designed to motivate you. Fear isn't just the unpleasant sensation in your gut. It's a rapid-fire sequence of physiological changes: adrenaline surge, heightened senses, increased heart rate, all orchestrated by your amygdala and other brain regions to prepare you for fight, flight, or freeze. Anger isn't just irritation. It's an energetic burst designed to confront a perceived injustice or obstacle. Joy isn't just elation. It's a powerful reinforcement signal, encouraging you to repeat behaviors that lead to positive outcomes. These aren't passive experiences. They are profound, unconscious calls to action, honed over millions of years of evolution. Your brain doesn't just feel fear, it commands you to flee. It doesn't just feel joy, it compels you to seek out more of what brought that joy. It's like an ancient operating system running essential programs in the background, dictating your responses before your conscious mind even has a chance to fully process what's happening. What are the profound implications of this understanding? It means your emotional life is far more purposeful and less random than you might have imagined. It means that feeling anxious before a presentation isn't just a bad feeling. It's your brain signaling a perceived threat, urging you to prepare or avoid. The frustration you feel when encountering an obstacle isn't just an annoyance. It's an evolutionary push to overcome. How much of your daily behavior is being subtly or overtly dictated by these deep-seated commands, disguised as mere feelings? Does this diminish your sense of free will if your emotions are, in essence, highly sophisticated biological programming? It can feel disquieting to think that such a fundamental part of your inner world is essentially a complex, pre-programmed reflex. Yet, this perspective offers immense potential for self-mastery. If emotions are imperatives, then understanding their purpose gives you the power to choose your response rather than being blindly driven by them. You can learn to decode the ancient messages your emotions carry. Fear means I perceive danger. What is the actual danger here, and what is the most effective response? Anger means a boundary has been crossed. How can I assert myself constructively? This insight allows you to move from being a passenger on your emotional rollercoaster to being its operator, learning to interpret the signals and decide on the most adaptive course of action. It's not about suppressing emotions, but about understanding their underlying evolutionary purpose and consciously choosing how to respond to their urgent calls. So, the next time an intense emotion washes over you, instead of simply feeling it, pause and ask, what is this emotion trying to tell me? What ancient command is my brain issuing? How might acknowledging your emotions as powerful directives, rather than mere feelings, empower you to navigate your inner world with greater wisdom and intention? You've confronted the brain's role in creating your visual world, filtering out extraneous data, bending the arrow of time, and even shaping your fundamental emotional responses. Each step has revealed a deeper layer of the brain's ceaseless, often invisible, work in crafting your reality. Now, let's explore something even more intimate and seemingly undeniable: your body. You live inside it, feel it, move it. You have an inherent, undeniable sense of where your limbs are in space, whether your hand is open or closed, whether you're standing straight or leaning. This internal map of your physical self feels as solid and real as your bones, doesn't it? It's your body image, your immediate, intuitive understanding of your physical form. We all take this internal representation for granted, believing it's a direct, accurate reflection of our physical being. But what if this profound sense of your body, this constant internal awareness of your physical self, is not a fixed, unchanging map, but a dynamic, incredibly plastic, and sometimes even deceptive neurological construct? What if your body image isn't simply a mirror of your physical form, but a constantly updated, sometimes fantastical, living phantom created within the brain's deep, dark chambers? This isn't just about how you feel about your body. It's about how your brain perceives and represents it at a fundamental, unconscious level. Consider the astonishing evidence. The phenomenon of phantom limb pain, for instance. An amputee whose arm has been removed can still feel excruciating pain in fingers that no longer exist, or an itch on a foot that was lost decades ago. This isn't imagination. It's the brain's body map, the somatosensory cortex, still firing, as if the limb were there, struggling to update its internal representation. Or think about the famous rubber hand illusion, where you can be tricked into feeling a fake hand as your own if it's stroked simultaneously with your real, hidden hand. Your brain, desperate to integrate sensory input, quickly incorporates the inanimate object into its body schema. This reveals that your body image is a constantly updated neural model, not a static blueprint. It's like a tailor continuously altering your suit, sometimes even adding a sleeve where there isn't one, just to make sense of the sensory data it's receiving. What are the profound implications of this malleable body image? It means your physical self, as you experience it, is less about rigid anatomy and more about a fluid, neurological projection. If your brain can create the sensation of a limb that isn't there, or adopt a foreign object as part of your own flesh, how much of your daily bodily sensation is a construction rather than a direct readout? Does this explain why some people feel out of touch with their bodies? Or why disorders like anorexia involve such distorted self-perception? It challenges the very idea of a fixed objective self, suggesting that even the most intimate aspect of your being, your own body, is largely a product of your brain's interpretation and construction. Yet, this unsettling truth opens up incredible avenues for intervention and self-understanding. If your body image is a dynamic construct, it means it can be consciously influenced and, in some cases, even therapeutically altered. Techniques like mirror therapy for phantom limb pain, for example, directly exploit the brain's plasticity, tricking it into updating its outdated body map. Understanding that your body isn't just a physical container, but a living neurological representation empowers you to engage with practices that can positively reshape that internal map, whether through mindful movement, intentional self-perception, or focused therapeutic interventions. You're not just moving a body, you're constantly refining the brain's internal blueprint of that body. Too. The next time you stretch your limbs, or simply feel the presence of your own hands, pause and consider the miraculous, sometimes deceptive, internal map your brain is ceaselessly drawing. How might recognizing your body as a living phantom, a dynamic projection of your mind, change how you relate to your physical self, your physical sensations, and even your sense of presence in the world? You've delved into the unsettling ways your brain constructs, filters, and warps reality, from the external world to your internal body map, and the very essence of time and emotion. Each step has revealed the brain as an active, sometimes deceptive, architect of your experience. Now, we arrive at perhaps the most deeply unsettling truth of all, one that challenges the very core of what it means to be you. The illusion of free will You live with an unquestionable conviction that you are the author of your choices, the conscious agent deciding every action, every thought. When you decide to pick up your coffee cup, to speak a particular word, or to turn left instead of right, you feel an undeniable sense of agency, a direct causal link between your conscious intention and the resulting action. We all share this powerful, intuitive belief. I choose, therefore I act. But what if this feeling of conscious control, this profound sense of authorship over your decisions, is often a brilliant, elaborate trick of the brain, a post hoc justification for actions that have already been initiated by unconscious processes? What if the decision you feel you make is actually an awareness of a choice that has already been made, milliseconds before you consciously claim it? Scientifically, this is one of the most debated and fascinating areas of neuroscience. Landmark experiments, like those by Benjamin Libet in the 1980s, revealed a startling sequence of events. Participants were asked to spontaneously flex their wrist whenever they felt the urge, while their brain activity was measured. Libet found that a surge of electrical activity, known as the readiness potential, occurred in the brain hundreds of milliseconds before the participants reported their conscious intention to move. More recent studies using fMRI have shown that the brain can decide up to a full 10 seconds before a person becomes consciously aware of their choice. It's like a complex machinery running silently in the background, making intricate calculations and initiating sequences, and then, only after the gears are already turning, a small light flashes, announcing, "You chose this." Your conscious mind receives a filtered memo well after the executive decision has been made by deeper, older parts of your brain. What are the profound implications of this disquieting revelation? It means that the conscious you might be less of a commander and more of a highly sophisticated public relations manager, rationalizing and taking credit for decisions already made by the vast, unconscious machinery beneath the surface. If your choices are initiated before you're even aware of them, what then of personal responsibility? What about guilt, praise, blame? Does it diminish your sense of agency to realize that your will might be more of an echo than a spark? This can feel deeply unsettling, threatening the very foundations of your moral compass and sense of self as an autonomous individual. Yet, this isn't an argument for fatalism or an excuse for inaction. Instead, it offers a profoundly different understanding of your relationship with your own mind. It suggests that while the initial trigger might be unconscious, the conscious mind plays a crucial role in vetoing or modifying those impulses. You might not initiate every thought or action, but you can certainly choose whether to endorse, amplify, or suppress them. This knowledge empowers you to understand the subtle influences driving your behavior and cultivate a more conscious relationship with your unconscious processes. It encourages practices that influence those preconscious impulses, like mindfulness, habit formation, and environmental design, allowing you to subtly steer the ship of your being, even if you didn't ignite the engine. So, the next time you feel you've made a firm decision, pause and consider the intricate ballet of brain activity that unfolded before that conscious awareness even flickered into existence. How might understanding the deeper, unconscious currents of your choices empower you to exert a different kind of influence over your life? Focusing not just on the conscious act, but on shaping the very predispositions that give rise to your will. Your identity is a story you continuously edit. VA traversed the intricate landscape of your brain's illusions, constructing sight, filtering reality, bending time, reshaping memories, interpreting emotions, fabricating your body image, and even presenting free will as a post hoc event. Each step has revealed the deeply subjective and constructed nature of your experience. Now, we arrive at the very summit of these illusions, the concept that stitches all these individual threads together. Your identity. You feel an unwavering sense of who you are, your personality, your beliefs, your values, your history. This you feels solid, consistent, and undeniably real, a stable core that persists through time and change. We all cling to this intuitive feeling of being a singular, unified self, a unique and coherent individual. But what if this deeply held conviction, this immutable sense of I, is not a fixed essence, but rather a constantly evolving narrative, a story you are perpetually telling, revising, and editing within the confines of your own mind? What if your identity isn't a concrete entity, but a dynamic, self-referential fiction, brilliantly maintained by your brain to provide coherence and meaning? Consider the scientific and philosophical insights that point to this. Neuroscience reveals no single seat of the self in the brain. Instead, identity emerges from the complex, distributed activity of countless neural networks. It's less like a central command center and more like a bustling city, where different districts, memory, emotion, perception, language, are constantly communicating and shaping a shared urban plan, your sense of self. Philosophically, figures like David Hume long ago argued that when we introspect, we find only a bundle of perceptions, never a constant, unchanging self. Your brain, in its drive to create order from chaos, weaves these disparate perceptions, memories, and sensations into a cohesive story. This narrative serves a vital purpose. It allows you to navigate the world, predict behavior, your own and others, and maintain a sense of continuity. It's like a novelist constantly updating a character's backstory to make their present actions make sense, adding new chapters and revising old ones, all while maintaining the illusion of a singular, consistent protagonist. What are the profound implications of this fluid identity? It means that the you of yesterday is not precisely the you of today, and the you of tomorrow will be subtly different again. If your identity is a continuous narrative, then every new experience, every new piece of information, every new interaction has the potential to subtly or dramatically rewrite a portion of your story. How much of what you believe about your core self is simply a reflection of the latest draft of this ongoing autobiography? Does this mean that self-improvement isn't about finding your true self, but about choosing which parts of your narrative to emphasize, which to revise, and which new chapters to boldly write? This can feel both liberating and unsettling, blurring the lines between who you are and who you choose to be. Yet, this understanding offers immense power and freedom. If your identity is a story, then you are its primary author. You are not trapped by past versions of yourself or limited by perceived immutable traits. This insight empowers you to consciously engage in self-authorship. You can choose to challenge limiting beliefs about yourself, rewrite narratives of past failures into lessons learned, and intentionally cultivate new traits and habits that align with the person you aspire to become. It transforms the journey of life into an act of continuous creation, where yourself is not merely discovered, but actively forged. So, the next time you reflect on who you are, pause and appreciate the magnificent story your brain is continuously crafting. How might acknowledging your identity as a dynamic, editable narrative empower you to consciously shape your future self, to embrace change, and to live a life that is truly your own masterpiece in progress? You've peeled back layer after layer of the brain's astonishing illusions, the constructed visual world, the filtered sensory inputs, the elastic nature of time, the reconstructed memories, the imperative nature of emotions, the phantom body image, and the narrative self. Each concept, in its own way, has pointed to a profound truth. Your brain is not merely perceiving reality, it is actively, ceaselessly creating it. Now, let's synthesize these truths into a single, breathtaking, and perhaps utterly disorienting concept. Your entire subjective experience of reality is, in essence, a controlled hallucination. Your world, as you know it, is a vivid, conscious dream, meticulously crafted by your brain. This isn't to say that the external world doesn't exist. There are, presumably, objective properties, fundamental particles, and physical laws out there, but your experience of that world, the vibrant colors, the distinct sounds, the feeling of solidity, the linear flow of time, the coherence of your memories, the urgings of your emotions, the boundaries of your body, the narrative of your self, all of it is an internal simulation. Your brain isn't receiving a clear, direct video feed of reality. Instead, it's taking sparse, ambiguous, and often noisy sensory data, combining it with vast amounts of prior knowledge, expectations, and predictions, and then generating the most probable, coherent, and useful interpretation. It's like a predictive text engine, but for your entire existence, constantly guessing what you should see, hear, and feel next, and then only adjusting if the incoming data strongly contradicts its prediction. Consider the compelling evidence from neuroscience. When you look at an object, your brain doesn't just process light from your retina. It actively predicts what that object should look like based on past experiences, then uses the incoming visual data primarily to confirm or refine that prediction. This is why you can often see things that aren't fully there, or fail to see things that are, if they defy your brain's expectations. Think of magic tricks, or how quickly you adapt to an optical illusion. Your brain is prioritizing efficiency and coherence over absolute, objective accuracy. It's an internal projector, casting its own sophisticated film onto the screen of your consciousness, using external signals merely as cues to keep the plot moving. The real world is less of a direct input and more of a subtle suggestion box for your internal storyteller. What are the profound implications of living within a conscious hallucination? It means the shared reality we believe we inhabit is actually a collection of billions of individual, subtly different simulations. Your internal world, no matter how similar it feels to others, is fundamentally your unique creation. Does this make reality less real or more? It can be unsettling to realize that the vibrant, solid world around you is, in a very deep sense, a meticulously constructed mental image. What does it mean for shared understanding, for empathy, if each of us is operating within our own, uniquely biased, internal simulation? It challenges the very concept of objective truth as something readily accessible to human consciousness. Yet, this isn't a descent into solipsism, it's an ascent to a new level of understanding. If your reality is a controlled hallucination, then you have more influence over its nature than you ever imagined. This knowledge empowers you to understand the power of your own expectations, beliefs, and attentional focus in shaping your subjective experience. By consciously directing your attention, by challenging your ingrained assumptions, by seeking out new information, you can actually begin to reprogram your internal projector, altering the nature of your conscious hallucination. It offers a profound sense of agency, transforming you from a passive observer of reality into an active, conscious participant in its ongoing creation. So, the next time you perceive the world around you, pause and consider the miraculous active process unfolding within your skull. How might understanding your reality as a conscious hallucination empower you to challenge your perceptions, to seek out new perspectives, and to consciously shape the magnificent, intricate world you inhabit every waking moment? You've now stood at the precipice of the most profound realization. Your perceived reality is a conscious hallucination, a meticulously crafted internal simulation. This isn't just a poetic metaphor, it's the operational principle of your mind. But how does your brain maintain such a convincing, stable illusion, even when the sensory data it receives is often noisy, incomplete, or ambiguous? You might assume your brain passively waits for sensory input, light, sound, touch, and then builds its picture of the world from the ground up, bit by bit. We commonly believe that seeing is believing, that our eyes are objective cameras, simply recording what's there, and our brain processes it afterwards. But this, too, is a subtle deception, a layer deeper in the intricate dance of perception. Your brain doesn't just receive, it anticipates. It doesn't primarily react, it predicts. The world you experience isn't merely what your senses detect. It's fundamentally your brain's best guess, a continuous prophecy that it attempts to fulfill. Your perception is not a direct reflection of reality, but an active, ongoing effort by your brain to predict what should be out there, then only updating its prediction when the incoming sensory data strongly contradicts its internal model. Scientifically, this is known as predictive processing, or the Bayesian brain hypothesis. Imagine your brain as a brilliant, relentless detective who doesn't wait for clues to arrive. Instead, it constantly formulates hypotheses about the world. There's a mug on the table. That's my friend's voice. The ground is solid. It then generates internal predictions of what sensory input should look and feel like if those hypotheses were true. Your actual sensory organs then act less like direct reporters and more like error detectors. They send back only the prediction errors, the discrepancies between what your brain expected to perceive and what it actually received. Your conscious experience, then, isn't the raw data, it's the refined error-corrected prediction. It's like a perpetually self-correcting GPS. It calculates the most likely route, then only reroutes when it receives a signal that you veered significantly off course. This makes perception incredibly efficient, allowing you to navigate a complex world with minimal conscious effort, as most of your reality is being filled in by internal expectations. What are the profound implications of your perception being a prophecy? It means your expectations, beliefs, and past experiences are not just influencing how you interpret the world, they are literally shaping what you perceive. When you meet someone new, your brain doesn't see them objectively. It quickly generates a predicted person based on facial features, body language, and your previous experiences, then works to match new information to that prediction. This is why confirmation bias is so powerful. Your brain actively seeks out and prioritizes information that confirms its existing predictions and tends to dismiss or reinterpret data that contradicts them. How much of what you know to be true about people, situations, or even yourself is simply your brain stubbornly holding onto an old, comfortable prediction rather than truly processing new, contradictory evidence? Does this explain why habits are so hard to break, or why shifting a deeply ingrained worldview feels like such a monumental effort? Yet, this unsettling truth provides an extraordinary key to unlocking new ways of experiencing the world. If perception is a prediction, then you gain a powerful leverage point. You can consciously choose to update your predictions by deliberately seeking out novel experiences, by actively questioning your assumptions, by embracing uncertainty, and by exposing yourself to diverse perspectives. You can force your brain to generate new, more accurate models. This understanding transforms you from a passive recipient of your brain's prophecies into an active, conscious collaborator in their refinement. It allows you to break free from the invisible chains of your own biases, to truly see beyond what you expect, and to cultivate a remarkable mental flexibility. So, the next time you encounter a situation, a person, or an idea, pause before you react. Ask yourself, what prediction is my brain making right now? Am I truly seeing what is, or am I seeing what my brain expects to see? How might consciously challenging your ingrained predictions allow you to perceive a richer, more nuanced, and ultimately more truthful version of your already extraordinary conscious hallucination? You've journeyed deep into the intricate mechanisms of your brain's construction of reality, how it builds the visual world, filters vast sensory input, bends time, recreates memories, issues emotional imperatives, shapes your body image, presents free will as an afterthought, maintains reality as a conscious hallucination, and operates primarily through predictions. Each revelation has underscored the intensely subjective nature of your experience. Now, let's confront a truth that is perhaps the most existentially profound, the one that strips away any illusion of external validation. The reality you inhabit, the events you witness, the circumstances you face, they possess no intrinsic meaning whatsoever. Meaning is not found out there. It is something you and your brain tirelessly assign. You intuitively search for meaning. When a loved one passes, you seek to understand their life's purpose. When a natural disaster strikes, you look for a reason, a lesson. When you achieve a goal, you imbue it with significance. We are wired to find patterns, to connect dots, to build narratives that explain why things happen and what they signify. We often feel that life events carry inherent weight, that certain moments are destined to be profound, or that certain challenges are inherently unfair. We believe meaning is a property of the world, waiting to be discovered. But this, too, is a sophisticated mental construct. The universe, in its vast indifference, simply is. A tree falls in a forest. Biologically, it's a release of energy, a decomposition of organic matter. Its meaning as a symbol of resilience or a tragic loss of nature is entirely a human projection. A financial setback is, at its core, a shift in numerical values. Its meaning as a catastrophic failure or a valuable lesson emerges solely from your interpretation and the narrative your brain constructs around it. Scientifically, your brain is a meaning-making machine, an organ compelled to create coherence. It doesn't tolerate ambiguity or randomness easily. When faced with a void of meaning, it fills it with narratives, drawing upon your past experiences, cultural conditioning, personal beliefs, and emotional state. This allows you to function, to learn, to make decisions, and to avoid the paralyzing weight of pure, unadulterated chaos. What are the profound implications of understanding that meaning is assigned, not inherent? It means that the good or bad labels you attach to events are not objective truths, but subjective judgments. It means that what devastates one person might galvanize another, not because the event itself is different, but because the assigned meaning is. If meaning is a product of your mind, then your suffering, your joy, your motivation, and your despair are deeply tied to the stories you tell yourself about the world. How much of your emotional experience is dictated not by the external event itself, but by the interpretive filter you apply to it? Does this imply that the purpose of your life isn't a grand, preordained destiny, but a narrative you actively, consciously, and continuously choose to write? Yet, this unsettling truth is also profoundly empowering. If meaning is something you assign, then you hold the ultimate power over your narrative. You are not a victim of circumstance, but an active participant in shaping the significance of every event. This insight liberates you from the tyranny of external events, allowing you to reframe challenges, to find lessons in setbacks, and to imbue ordinary moments with extraordinary significance. It offers a profound sense of agency, allowing you to choose how you want to interpret your experiences, and thus, how you want to live. You become the ultimate arbiter of your own reality's significance. So, the next time you find yourself grappling with an event, asking why did this happen, or what does this mean? Pause. Remember that the meaning you seek isn't waiting to be discovered like a hidden treasure. It's waiting to be created by you. How might understanding that your reality has no intrinsic meaning, only assigned meaning, empower you to consciously author a life rich with purpose and resilience, irrespective of external circumstances? Your consciousness is a narrative of unity from disunity. You've adventured through the brain's masterful deceptions, its constructed world, filtered sensations, elastic time, recreated memories, imperative emotions, phantom body, post hoc free will, conscious hallucination, and the purely assigned nature of meaning. Each truth, unsettling as it might be, has pointed to the brain's relentless activity in shaping your subjective experience. Now, let's turn to the very stage upon which all these illusions play out, the central mystery of your existence. Consciousness itself. You experience a seamless, unified stream of awareness. You feel like a single coherent I, a unified self observing and interacting with the world. We intuitively perceive our consciousness as a singular entity, a spotlight illuminating our experiences from a central point. But what if this pervasive feeling of unity, this unbroken sense of self, is yet another incredibly sophisticated illusion, a brilliant narrative spun by your brain to integrate a multitude of disparate, often conflicting, unconscious processes? What if your consciousness isn't a singular, cohesive whole, but rather a story of coherence, painstakingly woven from the simultaneous activity of countless independent, specialized modules within your brain? Scientifically, this idea is supported by decades of research, particularly in the study of split-brain patients. In these rare cases, the corpus callosum, the thick bundle of nerves connecting the brain's two hemispheres, is severed, often to alleviate severe epilepsy. What results is astonishing. To independent conscious minds operating within a single skull, when shown an image only to their left visual field processed by the right hemisphere, these patients might be able to pick up the corresponding object with their left hand controlled by the right hemisphere. But when asked why they picked it up, the verbally dominant left hemisphere, which didn't see the image, will confabulate a plausible, yet entirely false, reason. It's as if one part of the brain acts, and another part, completely unaware of the true cause, invents a logical explanation to maintain the illusion of a unified, rational agent. This isn't just a quirky neurological anomaly. It provides a profound glimpse into how your intact brain constantly stitches together fragmented information and unconscious impulses into a coherent, conscious narrative. Your brain is not a singular conductor. It's a bustling orchestra with many independent sections, and consciousness is the grand, unified symphony it broadcasts to itself. What are the profound implications of your consciousness being a narrative of unity from disunity? It means that the why behind many of your actions, thoughts, and feelings might be an elegant story your conscious mind invents after the fact, rather than the true causal chain. It means that deep within you, various drives, desires, and processing modules are constantly vying for expression, and your conscious self is merely the masterful storyteller attempting to make sense of the cacophony, presenting it as a singular, intentional flow. Does this diminish your sense of agency? If your unified self is a carefully maintained illusion, does it challenge the very notion of a soul or a non-physical essence? If your consciousness is so clearly a product of fragmented, material processes, yet this unsettling truth also holds immense potential for self-awareness and personal growth. Understanding that your consciousness is a narrative allows you to question that narrative, to identify the underlying, often unconscious, characters or modules that contribute to your decisions and beliefs. This insight empowers you to look beyond the surface justifications your mind creates and to explore the deeper motivations. It encourages introspection, allowing you to become a more discerning editor of your own life story, integrating disparate parts of yourself rather than letting them operate in conflict. You are not a singular puppet master, but rather the collective expression of a highly sophisticated, multifaceted internal system. So, the next time you feel a strong, unified sense of purpose or a clear, singular intention, pause, consider the countless unconscious processes, the myriad neural networks, and the ancient evolutionary drives that are simultaneously at play. How might acknowledging your consciousness as a masterful narrative woven from disunity empower you to achieve greater self-understanding, to embrace your internal complexities, and to consciously shape the evolving story of who you are, You've explored the brain's extraordinary ability to weave a unified conscious narrative from disparate parts, a grand illusion that integrates its many ongoing deceptions. Each revelation has deepened your understanding of how your subjective reality is internally constructed. Now, let's revisit the very first point of contact with the outside world, your senses. You trust them implicitly, don't you? Your eyes see, your ears hear, your skin feels. You believe they are objective instruments, flawlessly transmitting the external world into your mind, like perfectly clear windows onto reality. We all assume that if something is there, and our senses are functioning, we will perceive it accurately. But what if your senses, far from being open windows, are meticulously designed gateways, highly specialized, narrow filters that admit only a minuscule fraction of the vast spectrum of information constantly surrounding you? What if the very act of sensing is not about capturing everything, but about deliberately excluding almost everything, shaping what you can even begin to perceive long before your brain starts its grand construction? Consider the astonishing scientific evidence. Take light, for example. The visible light spectrum, the tiny sliver of electromagnetic radiation your eyes can detect, is just a fraction of a percentage of the entire electromagnetic spectrum. Radio waves, microwaves, infrared, ultraviolet, X-rays, gamma rays, these are all around you, constantly bombarding your body, yet you are utterly blind to them. Your dog can hear frequencies you can't. Bats navigate using sounds you'd never detect. And many insects see ultraviolet light that renders flowers in patterns invisible to you. Your sense of touch responds to certain pressures and temperatures, but ignores the constant stream of cosmic rays passing through your body or the subtle quantum vibrations at a subatomic level. Your senses are exquisitely tuned, not to the whole of reality, but to the very specific, evolutionarily relevant slice of it that aids your survival. It's like standing in front of a colossal, multi-story library filled with every book imaginable, but your access card only allows you to enter a single, tiny reading room with a handful of pre-selected texts. What are the profound implications of your senses being such restricted gateways? It means that the objective world, the true fabric of the universe, is unimaginably richer and more complex than anything you will ever directly experience. The reality you perceive is not just an internal construction. It's a construction built upon an incredibly limited foundation of raw data. How much of the universe's majesty and mystery remains perpetually hidden from your awareness? Not because you lack the intelligence to comprehend it, but because your very sensory apparatus is designed to filter it out. Does this make your reality less real, or simply humble your perception of its completeness? It challenges the notion that what we perceive is all there is, or that our human sensory experience is somehow a definitive measure of existence. Yet, this unsettling truth is also a profound catalyst for wonder and intellectual humility. Understanding the limitations of your senses opens your mind to the possibility of realities beyond your direct apprehension. It encourages scientific exploration, inspiring us to build instruments that can see in infrared, hear in ultrasound, or detect gravitational waves, all ways of extending our inherently limited sensory gateways. This knowledge liberates you from the naive belief that your direct experience is the full picture, fostering a deeper appreciation for the vast, unseen universe. It reminds you that the boundaries of your perception are not the boundaries of existence itself. So, the next time you marvel at a sunset or listen to a favorite song, pause, appreciate the exquisite design of your sensory gateways that allow you to experience these wonders. But also remember the unfathomable amount of information they deliberately exclude. How might acknowledging your senses as narrow filters, rather than open windows, inspire you to cultivate a deeper sense of awe, to question what lies beyond your immediate perception, and to embrace the humbling vastness of the universe? You've delved into the profound limitations of your sensory gateways, realizing that your perception of the world is a mere sliver of its true complexity. This understanding, combined with the insight that your brain constructs reality from sparse data, challenges the very notion of an objective, external world readily accessible to your conscious mind. Now, let's bring this lens of constant flux and internal construction back to something you feel is utterly concrete and undeniably yours, your own body. You perceive it as a stable, unchanging container, a solid structure that houses your consciousness, aging perhaps, but fundamentally the same physical entity from day to day. We all have this intuitive sense of our body as a fixed, tangible vessel. But what if this seemingly solid, unchanging container is, in reality, less of a fixed object and more of a living process? A constant, dynamic flow of molecules, energy, and information perpetually being built and rebuilt in every single moment. What if your body is not a noun, but a verb, a continuous state of becoming rather than a static state of being? This isn't just a philosophical musing. It's the astonishing truth revealed by modern biology and physics. Scientifically, your body is a marvel of constant renewal. Almost every cell in your body is routinely replaced over time. Your skin replaces itself every few weeks. Your stomach lining renews every few days. Even your bones, which seem so solid, are entirely new every 10 years or so, as old bone tissue is broken down and new tissue is laid down. The cells in your liver regenerate every few months. The atoms that constitute your being are constantly being exchanged with the environment through respiration, digestion, and excretion. You are literally eating, breathing, and drinking your way into a brand new body, moment by moment. The you that began reading this sentence is not chemically, or even cellularly, the exact same you that is finishing it. You are less like a brick house and more like a river, always flowing, always changing, yet retaining a recognizable form. What are the profound implications of your body being a living process rather than a fixed container? It means that the distinction between you and the environment is far more permeable than you typically imagine. You are constantly in dialogue with your surroundings, integrating its raw materials into the very fabric of your being. It challenges the rigid concept of a fixed self, reminding you that physical identity is as fluid as your narrative identity. How much of your persistent illnesses, or even mental states, are tied to the cumulative effects of these constant cellular and atomic replacements? Does this offer a different perspective on aging, not as a decay of a fixed structure, but as an ongoing, complex process of transformation? It can feel disorienting to realize that the most tangible aspect of your existence is constantly slipping through your fingers, an ever-changing mosaic. Yet, this unsettling truth offers a profound sense of agency and hope. If your body is a living process, then you are not stuck with an immutable physical destiny. Every meal you eat, every breath you take, every choice you make about movement and rest is an opportunity to actively participate in the continuous rebuilding of your physical self. This knowledge empowers you to view your health and well-being not as a battle against decline, but as a dynamic, ongoing creative act. It encourages mindful engagement with your body, recognizing that your physical form is not just a gift, but a constant, living expression of your choices and your environment. So, the next time you feel the solidity of your own body, or glimpse your reflection, pause. Consider the incredible, ceaseless dance of atoms and cells that are constantly renewing the very substance of your being. How might acknowledging your body as a living process, rather than a fixed container, transform your relationship with your physical health, your personal habits, and your understanding of life itself as a magnificent, perpetual transformation? You've explored the continuous renewal of your physical self, understanding your body not as a static container but as an ever-changing process. This fluidity extends beyond the tangible, mirroring the brain's constant construction of reality. Now, let's delve into something seemingly less concrete but equally powerful in shaping your decisions: your intuition. You've felt it, that gut feeling, that sudden flash of insight, that knowing without knowing why. We often elevate intuition to a mystical realm, a mysterious sixth sense, a direct pipeline to truth, or a profound connection to something beyond rational thought. We trust our gut feelings implicitly, believing they offer guidance unburdened by logic. But what if your intuition, far from being mystical or supernatural, is another incredibly sophisticated, yet entirely explainable, function of your brain, a hyper-efficient pattern-matching algorithm operating at lightning speed, far below the threshold of your conscious awareness? What if that gut feeling is simply your brain's unconscious mind recognizing familiar patterns and making incredibly rapid, probabilistic predictions based on a lifetime of accumulated data, experiences, and subtle environmental cues? Scientifically, this phenomenon is often explained through the lens of implicit learning and unconscious cognition. Your brain is a vast, parallel processing machine, constantly absorbing and analyzing enormous amounts of information, far more than your conscious mind can ever handle. Every face you've seen, every conversation you've had, every decision you've made, every consequence you've experienced, all are stored and contribute to an immense database of patterns. When you encounter a new situation, your brain, without your conscious effort, quickly scans this database, identifying similar patterns, even if they are incredibly subtle or fragmented. That gut feeling is the unconscious recognition of these patterns, signaling a potential outcome or a suggested course of action based on the aggregate wisdom of your past. It's like a supercomputer running billions of calculations in the background, then simply presenting you with the answer without showing you the complex code that led to it. This explains why experts often have incredibly powerful intuition. They've simply accumulated more data and refined their internal algorithms over years of experience. What are the profound implications of your intuition being a sophisticated pattern-matching algorithm? It means that your instincts are deeply rooted in your past experiences and the environment you've been exposed to. While powerful, they are not infallible. They can be biased, limited by incomplete data, or even lead you astray if the patterns you've learned are flawed or if new situations deviate significantly from past ones. How many times have you felt something was right, only for it to be proven wrong? Does this challenge the idea of blindly trusting your gut, especially in novel or complex situations? It suggests that while intuition is an indispensable tool, it is not an ultimate oracle. Rather, it is a product of your brain's remarkable, yet still fallible, learning capabilities. Yet, this unsettling truth is also incredibly empowering. Understanding intuition as a pattern-matching algorithm demystifies it, allowing you to cultivate and refine it. You can consciously expand the dataset your unconscious mind has access to by seeking diverse experiences, continuous learning, and deliberate reflection on outcomes. You can also learn to critically evaluate your intuitive nudges, asking, what patterns might my brain be recognizing here? Are these patterns truly applicable to this unique situation? This knowledge allows you to harness the immense power of your unconscious processing, while also developing the wisdom to question its outputs and integrate them with conscious as rational thoughts. So, the next time you feel a strong sense of intuition, a sudden knowing, pause. Appreciate the incredible, high-speed processing your brain is performing beneath the surface. How might acknowledging your intuition as a powerful, yet explainable, pattern-matching algorithm empower you to make more informed decisions, to continuously refine your inner wisdom, and to strategically blend gut feeling with conscious reasoning in the unfolding tapestry of your constructed reality? You've explored your intuition as a powerful, yet explainable, pattern-matching algorithm, revealing the hidden computational prowess of your unconscious mind. This understanding continues to unravel the layers of complexity in how your brain constructs your reality, constantly adapting and predicting. Now, let's turn to another fundamental aspect of your conscious experience: attention. You feel like you can perceive everything around you simultaneously, a broad sweep of awareness taking in the entire scene. When you walk into a room, you believe your conscious mind is soaking in all the details, like a vast floodlight illuminating every corner. We commonly assume our attention is a wide net, capturing all available information. But what if your attention, far from being a sprawling floodlight, is actually a highly selective, incredibly narrow spotlight, illuminating only a minuscule fraction of the sensory data available at any given moment, and intentionally dimming or ignoring everything else? What if your conscious awareness is less about comprehensive perception and more about strategic ignorance, an act of deliberate focusing that makes the richness of your experience possible by filtering out overwhelming noise? Scientifically, this phenomenon is widely studied in cognitive psychology and neuroscience. Consider the famous invisible gorilla experiment. Participants are asked to count basketball passes, and most completely fail to notice a person in a gorilla suit walking through the middle of the game, even though they are looking directly at it. This isn't a failure of vision. It's a profound demonstration of inattentional blindness. Your brain prioritizes what it deems relevant to your current task or focus, and everything else simply doesn't register in your conscious awareness. Similarly, in an auditory version, you can completely miss a conversation happening right next to you if you are deeply engaged in another. This selective attention is crucial. If your conscious mind truly processed every single bit of sensory input, remember those 11 million bits per second, you would be utterly paralyzed by overload, unable to perform even the simplest task. Your attention is the brain's ingenious mechanism for managing this information deluge, allowing you to function effectively in a complex world by strategically narrowing your focus. It's like a sophisticated stage manager, meticulously lighting only the current actors and props, leaving the vast, intricate backstage in shadow. What are the profound implications of your attention being a narrow spotlight? It means that much of your perceived reality is actively constructed by what your brain chooses to highlight, and conversely, what it chooses to omit. How many details, how many opportunities, how many potential threats or insights are you simply not seeing because your attentional spotlight is pointed elsewhere? Does this explain why two people can witness the exact same event and walk away with vastly different accounts, each convinced of their own objective perception? It challenges the very idea of a shared, objectively perceived reality, suggesting, instead, that we are each navigating a personal landscape sculpted by the narrow beam of our attention. Yet, this unsettling truth offers immense power and a path to greater awareness. If your attention is a spotlight, then you have the profound ability to direct it. You can consciously choose where to shine its beam, allowing you to discover new details, gain fresh perspectives, and uncover previously unseen aspects of your world. This insight empowers you to practice mindfulness, to intentionally shift your focus, and to cultivate a broader, more expansive awareness when desired. You are not a passive recipient of whatever registers, you are the active director of your own conscious observation, capable of expanding or narrowing your focus at will. So, the next time you feel fully immersed in an activity or glance around a room, pause. Consider the countless details, sounds, and sensations that are present but remain outside the narrow beam of your conscious attention. How might acknowledging your attention as a powerful, selective spotlight empower you to perceive more deeply, to engage more fully with your surroundings, and to intentionally shape the richness of your personal, constructed reality? You've explored the profound selectivity of your attention, realizing it acts as a spotlight, illuminating only a fraction of the vast sensory world. This dynamic filtering, coupled with your brain's predictive nature and its tendency to assign meaning, reveals how deeply personal and constructed your reality is. Now, let's consider something even more fundamental to your daily experience and your entire worldview: your beliefs. You hold onto them firmly, don't you? Your political views, your personal values, your convictions about yourself, others, and the world. You consider them fixed truths, carefully formed conclusions based on evidence and experience, anchors in the tumultuous sea of life. We all feel that our beliefs are solid, rational foundations for our actions and understanding. But what if your beliefs are not static truths, but dynamic, self-perpetuating, self-fulfilling loops? Powerful internal narratives that not only interpret reality, but actively shape it to conform to their own predictions. What if holding a belief doesn't just mean seeing something as true, but often unconsciously making it true through your actions and interpretations? Scientifically, this phenomenon is deeply embedded in human psychology. It's known as the Pygmalion effect or Rosenthal effect, where higher expectations lead to increased performance, and conversely, low expectations can lead to underperformance. If a teacher believes a student is bright, they unconsciously give that student more attention, more challenging material, and more encouragement, leading the student to actually perform better. The teacher's belief creates the reality. Your brain, in its relentless drive for coherence and prediction, works tirelessly to find evidence that supports your existing beliefs and subtly biases your actions in ways that confirm them. If you believe you are bad at public speaking, your brain might unconsciously amplify feelings of anxiety, leading you to stutter or forget your words, thus confirming the initial belief. It's a feedback loop. Belief influences perception and action, which then reinforces the original belief. It's like setting a GPS to a destination. Your actions will unconsciously guide you there, even if better paths exist, because your internal map is already set. What are the profound implications of your beliefs being self-fulfilling loops? It means that your internal landscape of convictions is not merely a reflection of the world, but a powerful engine driving your experience within it. If you believe success is only for others, you might unconsciously sabotage opportunities. If you believe you are unlovable, you might interpret ambiguous signals as rejection. How much of your perceived reality, your successes, your failures, your relationships, is actually a direct consequence of the beliefs you hold about them, rather than an objective truth? Does this imply that changing your reality might first require the radical act of changing your deepest, most ingrained beliefs about yourself and the world? This can feel both daunting and incredibly empowering, as it places an immense responsibility on your inner narratives. Yet, this unsettling truth offers a monumental opportunity for conscious transformation. If your beliefs are self-fulfilling loops, then you possess the incredible power to consciously identify, challenge, and ultimately reprogram them. This insight empowers you to become an active architect of your own destiny, not by sheer willpower alone, but by strategically shifting the internal narratives that dictate your perceptions and actions. By cultivating new, empowering beliefs, even before external evidence confirms them, you can begin to unconsciously create the very conditions that lead to their fulfillment. You become not just a believer, but a creator of your own future. So, the next time you feel an unwavering certainty about something, or find yourself trapped in a recurring pattern, pause. Consider the underlying beliefs that might be fueling that experience. How might acknowledging your beliefs as powerful, self-fulfilling loops empower you to deliberately choose the narratives that serve your highest potential, and to consciously shape the reality you wish to inhabit? You've grappled with the powerful, self-fulfilling nature of your beliefs, realizing how they actively shape the reality you perceive and inhabit. This intricate interplay of internal models and external experience continually highlights the brain's profound role in constructing your world. Now, let's turn to something that feels utterly fundamental, stable, and universal: space. You perceive the world in 3 dimensions: length, width, and depth. You navigate it effortlessly, instinctively understanding distances, volumes, and orientations. We all assume that space is an objective, unchanging container, the stage upon which all existence unfolds, perceived identically by everyone. But what if your experience of space, far from being an innate, direct perception, is actually a complex, learned construct, a sophisticated model painstakingly built by your brain over years of sensory input and motor experience? What if the very fabric of the 3D world you inhabit is not a given, but a constantly refined, incredibly convincing illusion, pieced together from fragmented, two-dimensional sensory data? Scientifically, evidence for this comes from various fields, most strikingly from studies of individuals who gain sight after years of blindness. For example, a person born blind who undergoes surgery to restore their vision doesn't immediately see a three-dimensional world. Instead, they often perceive a confusing jumble of colors and shapes, a flat, overwhelming mosaic. They cannot distinguish a square from a triangle without tracing its outline, nor can they judge distances. They must learn to see, to associate disparate visual cues like light and shadow, texture, gradients, and motion parallax with the tactile and motor experiences they already have of a 3D world. Their brain has to meticulously construct the concept of depth and distance from this new visual information. It's like being handed thousands of flat, individual photographs of a complex sculpture and having to piece them together in your mind to understand its three-dimensional form. Your brain, through countless movements, touches, and visual inputs from childhood, has built an incredibly sophisticated internal map of space, constantly updating it with every step you take and every object you interact with. What are the profound implications of your experience of space being a learned construct? It means that your perceived environment, the very layout of your world, is deeply intertwined with your physical interactions and your brain's interpretive mechanisms. If depth and distance are actively calculated, rather than simply received, what implications does this have for spatial disorientation, or for the way different species perceive their environments? Does it suggest that our human experience of space, while incredibly robust, is just one of many possible spatial realities, limited by our particular sensory apparatus and motor capabilities? It can be unsettling to realize that even the seemingly objective dimensions of the universe are, to a significant extent, products of your own brain's learning and interpretation. Yet, this unsettling truth offers a powerful testament to the brain's extraordinary plasticity and adaptability. Understanding that your spatial perception is a learned construct means you can, to some extent, relearn or refine it. This insight underpins the effectiveness of therapies for spatial neglect, where patients ignore one side of their visual field or balance training, which actively retrain the brain's spatial maps. It also deepens your appreciation for the seemingly mundane act of walking or reaching for an object, recognizing it as a triumph of your brain's continuous spatial computation. You are not just moving through space, you are actively constructing your perception of it with every action and interaction. So, the next time you effortlessly navigate a crowded room or marvel at the vastness of a landscape, pause, consider the countless hours of sensory integration and motor learning that went into building your seamless experience of three-dimensional space. How might acknowledging your experience of space as a learned construct empower you to appreciate the hidden complexities of your daily movements, to perhaps challenge your own spatial biases, and to marvel anew at the brain's masterful ability to create even the most fundamental dimensions of your reality. you've traversed the astonishing terrain of your brain's illusions. From constructing the visual world to filtering sensory inputs, bending time, recreating memories, issuing emotional imperatives, forging a phantom body image, presenting free will as a post hoc event, maintaining reality as a conscious hallucination, operating through predictions, assigning meaning, weaving a unified consciousness from disunity, leveraging senses as narrow gateways, experiencing your body as a living process, understanding intuition as an algorithm, perceiving attention as a spotlight, recognizing beliefs as self-fulfilling loops, and now, finally, seeing space as a learned construct. Each step has revealed the brain as an active, relentless architect of your subjective experience. Now, we arrive at the culmination, bringing these threads together to examine the very core of your being, your sense of self. You feel it intimately, this you that is reading these words, the enduring essence that persists through all your experiences, memories, and changes. It's the stable observer, the decision maker, the repository of your personality and consciousness. We all carry this deep, intuitive conviction that there is a consistent, singular self at the helm, directing the ship of our lives. But what if this fundamental sense of your stable, coherent self is not a fixed entity residing within your brain, but rather a continuous prediction, a constantly updated, remarkably stable model your brain generates about who you are, how you behave, and what you believe, all designed to maintain internal consistency and predict your future actions? What if your self is the brain's ultimate, most intricate predictive model, always running in the background, trying to make sense of the vast, disparate data of your internal and external world? Scientifically, this perspective integrates many of the previous concepts we've explored. Your brain, being a predictive machine, doesn't just predict the external world, it also predicts itself. It creates a model of you based on your past memories, which are reconstructed, your current sensory inputs, your emotional states, which are imperatives, your body image, which is a phantom, and the meanings you've assigned to your experiences. This self-model is constantly updated and refined based on new information and outcomes. When you act in a way consistent with your self-model, it's reinforced. When you act inconsistently, your brain either tries to rationalize the inconsistency, to fit the model confabulation, a part of the unified narrative of consciousness, or, if the discrepancy is too great, it begins to slowly update the self-model itself. It's like a complex AI continuously training itself on your life's data, building an increasingly refined and coherent avatar of you that it then uses to predict future responses and maintain a sense of stable identity. What are the profound implications of your sense of self being a continuous prediction? It means that identity is not a static destination, but a dynamic, always evolving process. If your self is a prediction, then it is inherently responsive to change, albeit often slowly due to the brain's preference for stability. How much of your current self is a reflection of outdated predictions your brain is still clinging to? Does this explain why personal growth can feel like such a struggle, as your brain resists updating its deeply ingrained self-model? Does it imply that true self-knowledge isn't about finding a fixed essence, but about understanding the complex, predictive algorithms that govern your internal sense of identity? It can be unsettling to think that the very you experience is a highly sophisticated, yet ultimately fluid, internal construct. Yet, this unsettling truth is arguably the most liberating of all. If your sense of self is a prediction, then you have unprecedented power to influence that prediction. This knowledge empowers you to actively participate in the continuous refinement of your own identity. By consciously choosing your actions, by intentionally seeking new experiences, by challenging limiting beliefs, and by reflecting on your responses, you are providing your brain with new data, subtly yet powerfully nudging its self-prediction toward the person you aspire to become. You are not trapped by a fixed past or an immutable personality. You are, in every moment, providing the input for your brain to predict and thus create your evolving self. So, the next time you reflect on who you are, or feel a surge of your unique personality, pause. Consider the magnificent, ceaseless process your brain is undertaking to predict and maintain that consistent sense of you. How might acknowledging your sense of self as a continuous prediction empower you to deliberately sculpt your identity, to embrace personal evolution, and to become the conscious co-author of the unfolding masterpiece that is your life? The grand illusion is your greatest power. You've journeyed through the labyrinthine corridors of your own mind, uncovering 20 unsettling truths that fundamentally alter your perception of reality, self, and consciousness. From the brain's construction of your visual world and its selective filtering of sensory input, to the elastic nature of time and the recreation of memories, to the imperative nature of emotions, the phantom of your body, the post hoc illusion of free will, the conscious hallucination you inhabit, the predictive nature of perception, the assigned meaning of existence, the narrative unity of consciousness, the restrictive gateways of your senses, the living process that is your body, the algorithmic nature of intuition, the spotlight of attention, the self-fulfilling loops of your beliefs, the learned construct of space, and finally, the continuous prediction that is your very sense of self. Each step has chipped away at the solid ground of conventional understanding, leaving you standing on a new, more profound, yet perhaps unsettling foundation. What, then, is the overarching truth that unifies these 20 revelations? It is this: the grand illusion of your meticulously constructed reality, far from being a weakness or a deception to be feared, is in fact your greatest power. It is the ultimate testament to the brain's extraordinary capacity for creation, adaptation, and meaning-making. You are not a passive observer of an objective world. You are the active, conscious co-creator of your subjective universe. Consider the cumulative impact of these insights. If your brain literally invents your visual world, filters out the unnecessary, stretches and compresses time, and recreates your past with each recall, it means your current experience is not a static given, but a dynamic interpretation. If emotions are imperatives, your body a living process, intuition an algorithm, and attention a spotlight, it means you possess intricate, powerful tools that can be understood, honed, and directed. And if your beliefs are self-fulfilling loops, space a learned construct, consciousness a unified narrative from disunity, and your sense of self a continuous prediction, then the very foundations of your personal identity and worldview are malleable, responsive to your conscious input. This isn't about denying an external reality, but about recognizing that your experience of it is a magnificent, ongoing internal project. What are the profound implications of embracing this grand illusion as your greatest power? It means that genuine freedom lies not in escaping these neurological realities, but in understanding and leveraging them. If your reality is constructed, you can influence the blueprints. If your perceptions are predictions, you can refine your models. If your identity is a narrative, you can edit your story. This paradigm shift moves you from being a passenger on the journey of life to being its conscious navigator. It empowers you to break free from rigid thought patterns, to challenge limiting beliefs, to cultivate new habits, and to actively shape your emotional landscape. The perceived unsettling truths transform into keys, unlocking previously unimagined levels of agency and self-mastery. This is not a call to solipsism, but to profound responsibility. With the awareness that your reality is a magnificent internal creation comes the responsibility to create it mindfully, compassionately, and intentionally. It encourages empathy, knowing that every other individual is also navigating their own unique, internally constructed universe. It inspires a deeper appreciation for the brain's awe-inspiring complexity, turning moments of perceived illusion into moments of profound wonder. You are not trapped by the dictates of an external, immutable world, but empowered by the boundless, creative capacity of your own mind. So, as you step back into the flow of your daily life, armed with these 20 unsettling truths, pause, look at the world around you, feel the sensations within you, reflect on the stories you tell yourself. Understand that everything you experience is a testament to the extraordinary, ceaseless work of your own brain. How might fully embracing this grand illusion, recognizing it not as a trick but as your greatest power, transform how you live, how you learn, and how you consciously participate in the ongoing creation of your remarkable reality. The stage is set, the tools are known, and the masterpiece of your experience awaits your conscious direction.